Dear fathers and brothers, I welcome you all to this fourth recollection talk on the theme Ignatian Companionship for Mission. It is always surprising to know how Ignatius cultivated and preserved his friendships in his life. Going through his autobiography, there are certain persons with whom he maintained the contacts for several years through letters. He gratefully acknowledged the important role played by them in his life. Ignatius firmly believed that the base of any relationship is the apostolic purpose. He had an enormous capacity to love others. His letters reveal the concern and the affection that he always carried for his friends. It is very apt to say that his friendships rendered a great support to his apostolic projects and the initial expansion of the society in various parts of the world. So, dear fathers and brothers, in this monthly recollection talk, I would like to focus on 4 points connected to Ignatian companionship for mission. First point is initial steps regarding the fostering of his companionship. As a person, Ignatius carried with him an innate friendly and amicable nature which enabled him to spontaneously enter into any kind of relationship. He possessed an ability to resolve the conflicts and a spirit to negotiate with others during the times of crisis. His social nature and his friendly flexibility to understand others were of great help to gain the confidence and trust of other persons. Polanco, speaking about the friendly and convincing characteristic of Ignatius, says that Ignatius, during the Battle of Pamplona, when everyone wanted to give up the fight, it was Ignatius who kept the spirit of bravery alive in his group and persuaded them not to give up. The same innate characteristic of Ignatius was operating throughout his life. Such kind of testimony on the friendly nature of Ignatius, saying that he was a man of noble spirit and never held any grudge against anyone, reveal the disposition of his mind and heart, which is fundamental in any relationship. However, things have changed drastically after his conversion. He preferred to be in silence and solitude up to a certain period of time. He enjoyed being alone in his own world of thoughts and contemplations. His social nature was taking a different turn in search of interior silence and a space for silent prayer. During the time of his convalescence, he even contemplated the idea of joining the Carthusians. He carried a fervent desire to travel to Holy Land after his conversion. In Barcelona, several people offered him their company, but he silently refused and preferred to travel alone. This was a kind of radical change in him from socialization to the solitude. Ignatius wanted to have God alone as his strength and refuge. Ignatius was still in his initial search for the will of God, and he was not so sure about his future apostolic projects and what God really wanted of him. Second point, Ignatius was ever grateful to his friends in Barcelona, lay partners in the mission. Once he returned from the Holy Land, Ignatius deliberately started searching for the friends for the sake of the mission. Ignatius spent much time with them. Various circles of friends formed around Ignatius in Barcelona during the weeks before his departure to the Holy Land, and then especially on his return. Principal among these friends were the Archdeacon Casador, Ines Pascal, and Isabel Rosa. With his conversational gifts and his ever-accommodating nature, he could easily enter into the art of friendship with others. He had the power of convincing others, with which he won many people into his apostolic project. His spiritual friendships, or the friends in the Lord, had a deep, significant faith meaning. His friendships kept growing over the period of time. Especially his relationship with many non-Jesuits were expanding gradually. He could approach them for any material help and offer them spiritual advice and support. The vast correspondence that he kept with them through the letters contained the gratitude and affection that he carried in his heart for his friends. In the year 1536, Ignatius wrote a letter to Casador, whom he had known in Barcelona. Ignatius shared a very strong bond of friendship with him. When Ignatius was studying in Paris, Casador used to send money so that Ignatius would continue his studies. In this letter, Ignatius mentioned that, because it seems to me, and I have no doubt, that I owe more debt to this town of Barcelona than to any other town in this life. His gratitude to his friends manifests how much he benefited from them in his spiritual and material life. Ignatius experienced the love of God in his relationships, and he intended to express the same love. His spiritual accompaniment to the noble ladies gives witness to the purity of his heart and his fervent desire to save their souls. Ignatius could address them as sisters and friends in the Lord. There were about 89 letters written to Ignatius by women and about 50 letters by Ignatius directed all the women. All these letters reveal a certain kind of spiritual friendship that Ignatius maintained with them for the sake of the mission. because of the great help received from these lay friends and benefactors, Ignatius could continue his studies without any difficulty and hindrance. He always felt so grateful for the immense help and support that he received from these people in his life. Third point, Jesuit companions for the mission. Once Ignatius reached Paris, he was on a constant search for friends who could join him for the mission. Given to his art of conversation and his power of convincing others, he could win the young men in the University of Paris. Slowly, he converted himself as the center of this group. He won their confidence and respect to work in the group. They shared a deep spiritual friendship and called themselves friends in the Lord. This was a kind of expression that characterized their lifestyle and living. Each one of them carried a deep affection and love for the other. It should be said, it is for the friendly nature of Ignatius that they could share this kind of strong bond of friendship among themselves. As a spiritual leader, he could animate them and moreover show his love and concern for them. Their way of living in Paris as a group revealed the kind of friendship they shared among themselves. All of them had a common goal of being at the service of the Lord, and the poor after going through spiritual exercises with Ignatius. Ignatius could enkindle in them the zeal to serve the Lord alone and to live together in love and companionship. Their friendship was deeply rooted in faith. Ignatius had formed strong emotional ties with many of them. They had prayed together, worked in the same ministries, lived the same rigorous lifestyle, and labored under the same watchful eye of the Inquisition. Ignatius could gain such command over the group that they always communicated to him in complete faith and transparency. That kind of ambience helped them to enter into spiritual conversations, which in turn fostered strong bonds among themselves. They trusted one another. The life of Ignatius had inspired them so much that they considered him as their master and leader. Each one of them felt loved by Ignatius. Their testimonies manifest the love and affection that they always held for Ignatius in their lives. Ignatius held them very close to their hearts. In his letter to his companions, the love of Ignatius was abundantly revealed. Fourth point, spiritual conversation as a tool to foster companionship. St. Ignatius possessed an innate gift of the art of the spiritual conversation. He could easily enter into any kind of relationship with his comfortable, sincere, and spiritual talk. Spiritual conversation is a means to get to know the other person personally. It is a way to involve in the lives of the others and to have a deeper knowledge about them. Ignatius used this gift of spiritual conversation to make friends for the sake of the mission. He could form a circle of the companions and friends who could vibrate with him on the same level of the spiritual path. His autobiography reveals that he always nurtured this art of the spiritual conversation to help the people spiritually. He used the tool of spiritual conversation as a deliberate and intentional strategy to lead the life of people to the way of the Lord. Engaging people in spontaneous, informal, and one-to-one spiritual conversations became part of his spiritual ministry. Many people found consolation in talking to him, and because of which he won many close friends for the Lord. Ignatius was always jealous to share his God experience with the people who are interested to reform their lives. In Holy Land, he was eager to win the souls for the Lord through his conversations. In Paris, finally he guided a few young men through his conversations and formed them into a group which became the nucleus of the society. He knew how to exercise the leadership through spiritual conversations and fruitful and meaningful relationships. His companions clearly understood him and they felt that there is something very special about this man called Ignatius. By engaging in his favorite means of spiritual conversations with Peter Weber and Francis Xavier, he won them for the service of the Lord. All those who fell in contact with Ignatius received an immense help and became his friends. The initial group of friends at Paris, through their testimonies, vouched for the great spiritual benefits received through the friendship of Ignatius. So much so, they defined themselves as friends in the Lord. Ignatius could most certainly speak as my friends in the Lord, since the friendship born in Paris had true Ignatian paternity. The first companions enjoyed so much of ease of communication and dialogue that even before becoming a formal group, they could discuss in an atmosphere of faith and transparency about their future plans and inner desires in Paris. Once they had experienced the love of God through the spiritual exercises, all of them were eager to be in the service of the Lord. St. Ignatius understood that spiritual conversations had got a powerful dimension to personalize apostolic projects that stem from a deep personal experience of God, which reveals the will of God. Such type of conversations facilitated a kind of trust and mutual support to help one another in this path. The trust they gained with one another, confining themselves in the spiritual care of Ignatius, was even more strengthened when they formally gathered to deliberate about founding the society. The atmosphere of the deliberations emphasizes The deeper bonds of friendship existed among them. The schooling of spiritual conversation received from Ignatius in Paris facilitated their process of deliberations, which has become a model of all time exercises of the discernment in common in the society of Jesus. So, dear friends, it can be said that Ignatius had a powerful gift of making friends easily, which he converted for the sake of the mission and building up of the infantile society. He showed sincere love and honesty in his relationships and desired the best for everyone. His ease in engaging in the spiritual conversations and his desire to help people manifested his capacity to relate and gain friends. The art of friendship and companionship that Ignatius showed is a model for modern day Jesuits as the society is moving towards greater lay collaboration and networking. We are in a time of impatience and multiple distractions. We are in a world of instant breakups rather than building up the relations. Ignatius, through his art of friendship, shows us the way to accompany the people and lead them to a path of greater service. He proves to us that everyone has got the capacity to love and to be loved. Ignatius had the conversion experience, and that conversion experience became so contagious that it became a means to serve the souls and the society. So, dear fathers and brothers, now I would like to propose 3 questions for our reflection. Number 1, Ignatius firmly believed that the base of any relationship is apostolic purpose. Do my relationships help me to commit myself more aggressively to the mission of Jesus? Question number 2. Spiritual conversation is a powerful tool to help people come closer to God. Having gone through the experience of the spiritual exercises, how free am I to share my faith with others? Or do I easily resort to gossip and tarnish the image of others? Finally, the infantile society was generously supported by lay friends and collaborators. Ignatius confesses in so many of his letters that if it were not for the support of those lay benefactors, the society would not have grown so much. So, how do I make the lay people more effective and fruitful in my mission place? Do I treat them as servants or collaborators in mission?